In this video, you can win 1,000 kroners in charging from Elton. More on that later. In this video, we are going to find out how far the new and small Volvo EX30 single motor extended range can go on a full charge of battery at a constant 120 kilometers an hour. Does a small Volvo translate to small range, or will this small Volvo impress and outperform other small cars? All of this and more is what we're going to find out in today's video. We are now headed northward on the E6 motorway. We've been on the road for about half an hour now, and the weather outside, I don't know if you can hear it, guys, but yeah, pretty bad weather. It's pouring down really hard outside. Yeah, but it isn't too windy though. According to the wind map, we do have a headwind on our way northward of about 1 meter per second, but it looks much worse than that. But maybe that is just because of all the spray, all the rain, and I think it's calmed down just a little bit now. Earlier it was really wet in the road, a lot of water, and yeah, just really not good conditions to do a range test. So after about 40 kilometers on the road now, our average consumption is around 26 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is pretty high. But we'll see once we get to our turnaround point in about 40 minutes if it will, that will drop a little bit. And also, of course, once we get back to our starting point, hopefully that will go down a little bit. But again, not the best conditions. But what I'm really impressed about this car is how quiet it is for being this class of vehicle. There's very little road noise and wind noise for being this type of vehicle, and that is impressive. This car so far is a lot quieter than its bigger brother, the Volvo EX30, which is impressive. Thankfully, the weather has calmed down considerably. I mean, it is a lot calmer now. It's just a little bit of drizzle in the air, and yeah, hopefully it will stay this way until we get back to Oslo, because we are now at our halfway point, but we're going to turn around here and then we're going to start moving southward towards Oslo. But I did get a snap from my friend Volvo Christian, who is in Oslo, and said the weather is terrible. So it's not looking promising. Another thing that isn't looking promising is that I may have made a huge mistake because I only charged the car to 80%. And we are now at 39% with halfway to go. But the car's saying we will arrive with 4% stated charge. So quickly, let's go into car status here. And there's so many sub-menus now to get to the trip computer, which is super annoying. But there we are, 24.7 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So according to my calculations, if the consumption is around that, we actually won't have enough juice to get back to Oslo. So that's why I am crossing my fingers. And yeah, the car says 4% stated charge once we get back. But I'm not entirely sure we can trust that 100% with this weather. But we'll have to see, and we'll keep going now. So southward on the E6 motorway, and I'll see you guys in about an hour. This is not looking good. Minus 2% is what the car's estimating we're gonna arrive with, and it's still 49 kilometers to go, and it started almost snowing outside now. It's sludd, as we call it in Norwegian. I don't know what you call it in English, slush or whatever. I just noticed a thing that may be promising for us to be able to make it back to where we started actually. So if we take a look at here, the car says we're going to arrive with minus 3% stated charge, right? We're currently at 7% stated charge, but look at this. The car says we have 32 kilometers of range left, and the car also says it is 32 kilometers until we arrive. That is interesting. So the car says, okay, now we're 1 kilometer in the red, but minus 3%. I don't know if we're just going to YOLO it or stop earlier. I haven't decided yet, but there may be a chance for us to make it back to our starting point. Okay guys, I'm bailing out, and that is because we are here at a recharge charger Nebness, Shell Station, and the weather just keeps on getting worse and worse. So let's pull up to this charger here, and then we'll quickly check all the stats. So first off, I have to stop the timer, which I have here on my phone. So there we go, stopping the timer. And then we have to check we are here with 1% stated charge. We could have gone a little bit further to an Ionity charger, but that was still like 5 kilometers away, and I didn't dare to do it. So let's go into the trip info. And 259 kilometers, no, 198.5 kilometers covered, 24.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and we are here at 1% stated charge. So let's hop out now. Okay guys, we have now connected to this charger, and for that I am using the Elton charging app, which is an all-in-one charging app that will let you charge at almost all charge point operators in Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark. It's super easy, super simple, and it's such a nice tool to have on a road trip where you can just stop and charge almost anywhere, use the same charging app, the same payment method. It is just super simple. And this month, Elton are giving away 1,000 kroners in charging to a lucky user. So if you don't have the app, go down and download the app. And also if you have the app, you have to register your phone number to be eligible for the giveaway. So with that out of the way, we are now charging. We are at 1% stated charge, and if I'm not mistaken, this car actually doesn't have a readout for charge speed, which is really weird and annoying. So let's go here and see if we can find, so we have a charger. No, that actually stops the charging, so that is really interesting. I don't want to do that, so then I have to start the charging again. Can I do that from the app like right away, or do you have to go out of the car again? Let's see if we can just start the charger again. This one is called H. If that works, oh, that is super awesome. Not having to go out and connect and reconnect again. Okay, this is pretty cool with this app, because if we were using, a payment card, or most likely like the charge point operator's own app, it wouldn't let us, just start the charging without having to hop out of the car, disconnect, and connect again. So that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. But we were looking for a charge speed indicator, like telling us what speed we're charging at. But yeah, there's nothing here. Car status, let's go ahead here. Everything is, trip computer, software update. This is in Norwegian, guys, but yeah, no. That is interesting. So let's hop out and just check the charging speed on the actual charger. And okay, we're only getting 20 kilowatts. That is not promising. That is not good at all. So I popped into the station, went to the toilet, got a Pepsi and a small hamburger, which was a lot smaller than I was expecting. I ordered like a 100-gram hamburger, and it was like tiny. It was like a cheeseburger at McDonald's. But okay, I did that, came out here again. We were at 19% stated charge, and the speed had ramped up to 122 kilowatts. So considering no preconditioning, which we don't do in this test, which we consider, we went down to basically 0, and also the outside temperature has been pretty cold today, between +1 and +4 degrees Celsius. I don't think that is actually too bad, considering the peak charging speed of this car should be 153 kilowatts. So if we take the usable battery capacity of this car, which is 64 kilowatt hours, we take that number, we divide it by the consumption, 24.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and then we subtract 3% in heat loss. That gives us a theoretical range under today's conditions of 249 kilometers, which on paper and saying out loud doesn't sound very good. But considering that this car has a WLTP rated range of less than 500 kilometers, closer to 470, that is not too far off the mark. That is to be expected, especially considering how cold it was today, between 1 and 4 degrees Celsius, and also the really bad weather we had. We had heavy rain and slush throughout the whole trip. I mean, maybe like only half an hour, 20 minutes. It was actually just only a little bit of drizzle. So a lot of water in the road today, and pretty harsh conditions. I think if it was -10 or -5 degrees Celsius and with dry roads, we actually would have gotten the same or even more range. And when you do that comparison that it doesn't look too bad. But I can't wait to test this car once we get spring weather, because it is, you know, the middle of March and it's still cold outside. There's a lot of snow still, like, around this station here, which is pretty depressing, to be honest. So I think, considering everything, that actually isn't too bad of, you know, winter range, considering this is a small SUV. It doesn't have the most aerodynamic shape. This is a very short car, which doesn't help with aerodynamics. It has pretty, you know, decent ground clearance. So for this type of vehicle, I actually don't think that is too bad. But, you know, warmer conditions, nicer conditions, you can expect to get probably closer to 300 kilometers. But I can't wait to test that. But considering the day, I'm a little bit disappointed still. So guys, let me know what you think down below. Do you think the range I got out of this car today was good or bad? So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later and goodbye.